What is going on, survivors? Today we're going to be talking about how to spawn in dinos. So this is going to be the new episode of our 101 sort of catalog here. We're going to talk about how to spawn animals in. We're going to go over the two basic ways. There's a couple of other ones that are a bit more specific, but we're going to go across the two basic ways of how to spawn dinos. We're over here on the island, which is, you know, probably a pretty chill place. I figured up here on a safe rock where I'm not going to get terrorized by things while I'm trying to do this. It's a simple procedure, but it does require access to some certain information that you're going to need. So we're going to start with taming, which is, well, not taming, I should say. We're going to start with just spawning a wild critter. And for sake of ease, let's just pull a dodo mainly because I know I can spawn a wild dodo and I know it's not going to try to kill me. All right, now if you're on console, you're gonna have to get to your actual admin console. So you need to be an admin on the instance of Ark that you're playing. That could either be single player, or if you're on a server and have admin privileges to that server. With console, it's a little bit trickier about how to get in the admin commands, but essentially you're going to get access to a dialog box to type information into. Most of it isn't case sensitive. Most of it, and when I say case, I mean upper and lower, doesn't necessarily matter in most cases. And spawning a lot of these in is pretty simple. So if you're in single player, it's something very simple, which is what you start most of your commands off with, is a cheat space. You can put admin cheat in front of it, but you don't actually need to. If you're let's say you're logging into a server and you need to type in admin credentials in, you'd actually, and I'm on PC here, so this is just a tab, right? So a tab opens up this dialog box, and you type in enable cheat space, and then whatever the admin code is, blah 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 blah, and enter it in, and that's how you gain admin access. From there, you'll be able to enter admin codes. But if you're in a single player, you can skip that part, go straight to actually just running admin codes. But anyway, to spawn in actual critters, let's say we're doing a dodo here. So let's spawn in just a normal critter that we don't necessarily, let's say we don't know, we just want a wild creature, right? You're gonna need the creature ID to make this work. And we'll post a link to this specific site that I use, which is just the Ark Gamepedia site that has all of the IDs for the creatures. You're going to need this information. What I mean is you're gonna need this column here. Essentially is what you're gonna need for this information. Now, if you're on console, I don't know if PlayStation does it, but I know Xbox does have a way to basically connect your smartphone up to your Xbox console, so you could like copy this from your phone and paste it in there, so you don't have to try to type it in there, or you just have to get a keyboard. But anyway, so let's say just for ease, we're gonna go, I don't know, a normal dodo. Where's a normal dodo? Not the bunny dodo. It's all in alphabetical order. It shouldn't be this hard for me to find it. All right, so this string, this thing right here is what I need. So I'm just going to copy this, and we're going to go back into here. All right, so all we need to do is cheat space. We'll type in summon space, and we're going to paste this in. That's what we look at. So cheat space, summon space, and then that string, that ID. And this actually shouldn't have an underscore at the end of it. I don't know why that does. That's a little weird. We shouldn't have. Oh, that's the cursor. Never mind. Anyway, so that's what we should see. This is what you should see right here. Hit enter, bam, dodo pops in. It's going to be a random level of the level of whatever difficulty you have on your server. This is just a bare bones vanilla setting, but it's going to spawn in, and it's also going to be a random gen level and random gender. You're not going to be, you're not going to get guarantees out of this, but you can sit here and do this multiple times. All right, I got a male. Female again, and that's essentially how you're doing that. That's fairly easy, and they'll spawn in and act like they normally would all the time. If they're hostile creatures and you do this, they will try to bite you, unless you have certain admin codes on, so definitely pay attention to what you're doing there. Some bigger creatures, it might help if you were, because you obviously, if you have game like actual admin commands on, would be to either do a GCM or a fly so that you're up above what you're spawning. If it's a bigger creature, it might actually help you out a little bit, but for something that's small, obviously this works great. So that's generically how we just spawn in a creature, right? Well, how do we spawn in a tamed creature? Let's say, all right, well, I'm on single player and I want to mess with this new creature that came out, but I don't want to go through the effort of taming it. I just want to test it out and see if it's actually worth it. Or I'm an admin on a server and I want to spawn creatures in so that I can, I don't know, give rewards out to my community members or do a cool event or something like that. The command is a little bit different, and we're going to talk about that too. So same procedure, you're still going to need that same information, but we're going to do a dodo this time again. So, and we can do a couple different creatures, but basically we're going to go back to this command window, right? We're going to hit that tab or however you get into this dialog box. We're going to type in cheat again. It's going to be a little bit different this time. It's going to be cheat space GM summon, all one word. and we're going to hit space again. Now we're going to follow this up with a quotation mark. And then we're going to paste that same string in that we had before. We're going to end it with a quotation mark. We're going to hit space. And then this is actually where you can dictate what level it is. So let's say I want a level 100 dodo. That's what we're going to put in. Now, it's not guaranteed that those levels are going to be in the stats that you want, but it does guarantee that it's going to be that. So this command, what we're looking at, this sample, is going to spawn in a tamed level 100 dodo. Now, what this also does is it tames a level 100 and then gives it a 100% taming bonus. So it tames the dodo, pops out, and as you can see, it's level 150. That's because it's giving me a 100% taming effectiveness. So when you spawn these in, keep that in mind. So if you spawn in, typically, you know, most of the servers are, you know, level 150 is your max. It's gonna, if you spawn a 150, it's gonna bump it up to a 225. It's gonna give a 100% taming effectiveness. And that's pretty much it. Same deal. You're not guaranteed where the stats are going in here, and you're not guaranteed on the gender. But again, you can keep running this over and over, change the levels up, do whatever you want. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, this is something that's fun if you're on single player and want to try a new creature out. Or if you're running it like some sort of admin server and want to do like events or rewards or whatever the case is. Or if you're just trying to build something really cool and scenic and maybe you need some creatures to flesh it out to make it look cool, this is how you do that. But again, those are the two main ways to do it. Those are the two ways you're going to do it. Let's go somewhere else and try something a little bit bigger. You guys hang out here. All right, so let's come down to right around here works. You know what? I'm always looking for a reason to spawn in an Allosaurus, but let's look through here. Let's look through something a little oddball in here. Let's look for something that's a little bit outside of the norm. Most of these have what you would expect being in the front. So it's not always, so we saw the dodo underscore character PPC. The dodo part, that first part, the animal name, isn't always what you're going to think it's going to be, right? And the example would be for an Allosaurus, it's Allo. For Achatina, it's all spelled out. It's not, there's no like strict pattern as to how these things are named. So you definitely need access to something like this to make sure you get them right. But we can try, let's try an aberrant raptor. So this is another cool thing to pay attention to as well. This part seems fairly universal. So when we're talking about things that are already a species and just have a different like skin associated with it, basically, you're going to see the same string that you normally would, but you're going to see this tag at the end. So for instance, it's aberrant version, you're going to see aberrant towards the end of this. Between the BP and the C, you're going to see that aberrant message down there. If we scroll down to the corrupted section, like the corrupted Rex, this is all the same with the exception of this being corrupt in the center of it. But again, as long as you're basically copying exactly what's in this column, it doesn't really matter what we're doing. So let's take, I don't know, and then also note that some of these don't match up to their names either. For instance, if you're trying to spawn in a Bloodstalker, it's not Bloodstalker underscore character BBC, it's actually Bog Spider. This entity ID is absolutely crucial when you're spawning these things in. And they all have different names. They're not always what you think. Like the Reaper King is known as a xenomorph in here. They're all a little bit different. Some of them aren't exactly what you would associate with them, and some are just like, oh, well, that makes more sense. Like for instance, the Ferox is labeled as a shapeshifter. There's plenty of different instances in there, but let's say I don't know, let's go for X-Allo. Let's do an X-Allo. So the X series creatures are a little bit different because the first part up in front of their whole name is actually like the type of where you would normally find them. Like the X-Allos have that lava effect on them, so it says volcano on the front, where the Bassie has ocean in front, and like the X-Otter has snow in the front. So the biome is a little bit specific. But again, this website will help you out a lot because it kind of segregates it into different DLCs, so that it's gonna be easier for you to find it. And plus, you know, Control F and just look for what you're looking for. You'll find it pretty quickly. So let's take the Allo. So we're gonna tab open, and let's say we're gonna, I don't know, let's spawn a summoned one, a tamed one in. So GM summon, quotation mark, paste the information in, quotation mark, and I want a 225, so we're gonna spawn in a 150 because it's gonna give me 100% taming effectiveness. And bam, there we got it. Level 225 X Allosaurus right here. So fairly simple concept, right? Not too terribly. The pattern is pretty much the same regardless. It's just a matter of whether you're spawning a tame creature in or taming a wild or spawning a wild creature in. Let's put you on neutral, and then let's say we want to spawn in a normal X Allosaurus, and they can duke it out. Again, this is the string that you use for a normal creature. No quotation marks, no GM summon, just summon, and no level associated with it. This is what happens. So we got an X Allosaurus that came in here, and now these guys are gonna fight it out. And I'm gonna walk away from the chaos that I actually just created right here. That didn't last long. It didn't last long at all, did it? No, it didn't. No, it didn't. You're so mad. Anyway, guys, that's it. It's pretty quick and simple, right? How to spawn in creatures, how to spawn in normal creatures, and how to spawn in tame creatures. This is going to work universally. This method, the same line you would use to spawn a wild dodo is the same line you're going to use to spawn in a wild X Allo. It's just a couple of pieces of information that are going to be a little bit different. But we're going to leave a link to that Wikipedia so you guys can check all those entity IDs out, and we'll throw them in the description of the video so you can check those out too. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you next time.